721 here, Big 550 KTRS. Nick Pistor, our buddy from the Post, STLtoday.com, has written a brand new book, The Ax Murders of Saxtown, the unsolved crime that terrorized the town and shocked the nation. It's a story about an 1874 Saxtown massacre. Nick Pistor, you were on the show promoting it when the book first came out. Thank you for joining us once again here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Glad to be here, McGraw.
All right. Now, more news is coming out. What's the people, once you released the book, you were getting calls from people who had more information on the story?
Yeah, sure. And first off, the anniversary is this week. It's 140 years ago. In fact, 140 years ago yesterday, an immigrant farmer in St. Clair County felt something bad was going to happen. He was very superstitious. He hadn't planted his potato seeds before St. Patrick's Day. And then 2 days after St. Patrick's Day, he ambled into a neighboring farm and found 5 axe-cleaved bodies. That started this entire hunt for a murderer and all these things that went on, and it became this huge case, this huge unsolved mystery. And since the book came out that details all the twists and turns and all the crazy things that happened, I've been contacted by a number of people in the region. One happened to be an 85-year-old man who actually kept a part of the wall of the massacre site in his basement. The house had been torn down in 1954, and all these years he's had this 3-foot piece of the wall in his basement as a relic, as some sort of keepsake of what happened. That's how it affected people in that area. I've also heard from a number of people, a younger man who found an old axe, rusted axe in the woods, and he kept it all these years. He used it to chop wood. It's on his farm. These are the types of things that people would do out in this area. That's how the lore and the legend of this case affected them.
Okay. All right. So, do you go and see this wall that this guy had?
Yeah, sure. And in fact, I actually have it right now. It's going to be on display tonight at Barnes & Noble in Fairview Heights at 7 o'clock. It is... it's nothing amazing, but the book talks about how the family constructed their house and how they used, different types of wood and straw and mud and stuff to string everything together. And it's very clear with this piece of the house, it's very clear that it did belong to that house because you can match it to the pictures. And it's very old, but it's quite a scene.
Is there any blood stains still on the wall?
Not that I can see. The house, where it happened stood until 1954. People lived in this house for a long time after an entire family was wiped out there over a rumored gold fortune that they had somewhere on the property. And people continued to live there, and blood stains were still on the floor, and misguided axe swings were in the door jamb and on the walls. So people lived in this crazy murder house for a long time until it was torn down. And most people had thought that it had just, that the house was demolished. The barn is still on the property that the family built, but not the actual house. But some people, at least this one man, has kept a relic of it all these years, and nobody knew about it until now.
So the house no longer exists. Did somebody build a new house on that site?
Yes, they did build a new house, and people currently live there. And there are all these talk of ghost stories and hauntings and things like that, especially around the anniversary of the murders, which is the time we're in right now.
All right, so tonight you're at the Barnes & Noble at Fairview Heights?
I'm at Barnes & Noble in Fairview Heights, and I'll actually have the piece of the wall with me. I'll be giving a talk there at 7, and we'll also have a surprise announcement there as well. Tomorrow, I will be on the actual murder site. The owner of the property, whose descendants or distant relatives, were briefly accused of the crime. He owns the property now. He's going to give people a tour of the barn that the family built, and that'll be tomorrow at between 6 and 7.
Okay, where can people go and find out more information on all this?
My website is nickpistor.com, nickpistor.com.
pretty morbid stuff. Still, there are people 140 years later who are still fascinated by this, so much so that they want to go take a tour of this stuff.
Oh, well, I hope so. Maybe not, but it is something, people are fascinated with mystery. Look what's going on with the airplane that vanished. If
Right.
it had crashed, we still wouldn't be talking about it today. The lure of an unsolved case like this one was 8 people were arrested for committing the crime. None were ever convicted.
Because of the wall that's come out, that Ax you mentioned, your book, have the police thought about reopening up this case with all this new, more interesting developments coming up? Because you have brought some type of, what am I trying to say, new interest to the case. Is there, Nick Pistor, is there some idea that maybe the cops will actually reopen the case?
Hello. No, I do not think they will reopen the case. I think it would be too difficult at this point. It would be nearly impossible to dig everybody up or to use any type of forensic science to work that out.
Yeah. Nick, you must have gotten calls from somebody to buy the book to turn it into a movie or a TV special or, a Discovery investigation or something, right?
No, I have not. I would certainly be open to that. I know my agent is out there, and he's certainly would be open to it as well. It certainly would make for an interesting case on the big screen.
Well, you need to fire your agent and get somebody else who clearly knows what they're doing, because this is such an interesting story. Where is Saxtown? We never really hear about it. So where is Saxtown?
It is just south of Millstadt, Illinois, near Belleville. It's about 8 miles from Belleville. It's about a 35-minute drive here from St. Louis, from downtown St. Louis. It's a small neighborhood, really, of St. Clair County.
Yeah.
And you grew up in that area, right? Is that why you were interested in writing the book? And is the family, are they buried there still?
I grew up in Millstadt, Illinois, and that is how I heard about it. And I heard the legends and the lore of the case. And so that's when I, years later, started writing a book about it and trying to figure out what actually happened. The family is buried near the house in unmarked graves. Nobody's exactly sure where they are except for the undertaker. A monument to them is in Belleville, Illinois, and they are not buried there, though. Years ago, in about late 1800s, they had tried to dig the family up and move them to this monument site, but the immigrant farmers living out there would not let them. They actually banded together with guns and pitchforks and prevented the undertaker from digging them up and taking them to Belleville.
Did they ever find any gold on the property?
They did not, and up until like the 1980s, people would show up with metal detectors on the property, thinking that the family had buried it somewhere out there and that the killers maybe just didn't get it. But gold has never been found in the house or on the property around it. But the concern that many have is that maybe it is buried has caused many people to go out there and start looking for it.
5 people killed with an axe 140 years ago in Saxtown. It is depicted in a new book called The Murders of Saxtown, the Ax Murders of Saxtown, the unsolved crime that terrorized the town and shocked the nation. NickPistor.com for more information about tonight at Barnes & Noble in Fairview Heights and tomorrow too, right, Nick?
Correct, yes.
NickPistor.com, bookstores everywhere, as well as Amazon.com, the Ax Murders of Saxtown. Nick, thanks for checking in. Have fun today and tomorrow, I guess. And call us if you need us. We're always here to help you out, buddy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You got it. Nick Pistor here on the Big 550 KTRS via Skype,
that is fascinating.
People love those stories of...
That's why I agree. It should be on Discovery Investigates or
right?
something, because that's like one of the greatest unsolved murders.
And I mean, talk about 5 gruesome deaths with an axe.
Yes.
Unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Pistor bringing it home, doing strong.
Yeah.
I like Nick. Nick's a good dude.
He is. He's a great writer.
7:31 here, Big 550 KTRS.